A credit card be used to put money down on a real estate deal? All right, guys, we're talking all about credit cards and money down in today's Just Ask Ryan. And here's the deal. Credit cards can be used kind of, and there's a little strategy behind it and a way to do it. So we're going to talk about this. So obviously with credit cards, you're going to want to do either a cash advance or there's a way of transferring funds where you can actually use those for a real estate transaction. What's important here is when you go to the title company is going to have what's called good funds laws, which basically means if a title company just can't take a check, and then if that check bounces and they've already transferred the property to the new owner or recorded that transfer, and then they're like, oh no, we're just kidding. So what happens with title companies is they have to have funds that are wire transferred only. And one of the challenges you're going to get into with your credit card is they don't really do wires. So let's talk about a couple of ways that we can actually make this happen. Okay, guys, so here's the deal. So if you've got your credit card, one of the things that you can do is what's called a cash advance. Now, typically with a cash advance, what they're saying is we're actually going to give you cash rather than just having you go use your credit card to buy something. We'll actually just give you a cash advance and they'll transfer that money into your into your account, right? So, and if you're doing a cash advance, here's a couple of things to be aware of though. When I'm doing a cash advance, typically they'll only go up to 50% of my limit. So if I have a limit of $25,000, the cash advance is going to be $12,500. Is typically the most they will allow as a cash advance. The other thing you've got to be aware of is the interest rate on these cash advances are typically higher. And that's just something to be aware of. Now, if this money is helping you make money, the interest rate is less important because if you're going to pay a little extra, you can pay 30% in interest, but it allows you to make a $50,000 profit margin. You're going to pay a few $1,000s worth of interest, but that's worth it, right? That's a good trade-off. So it's more about what that money allows you to do, less about how much that really costs, although it might not be a bad idea to shop around and see if you can get the best rates, but not doing a deal is more expensive than a very high interest rate. That's really important to realize. So this is one way of using a credit card, but with that, you've got to realize also that cash advance, maybe they're going to ACH it into your account. You are then going to have to do a wire transfer. And there's a couple of things to keep in mind here. It's timing, right? How long will it take for your credit card? They're going to send the money to your bank. And then you're going to have to turn around and you're going to have to wire to the title company. And my concern with all this is the time frame. So time is the concern because it has to hit. This wire has to hit. You can't be late with this. So you need to talk to your bank, your credit card company, and say, hey, I want to do a cash advance. How much can you get me and how long does it take to get into my bank account? And typically, I think they're going to tell you 2 to 3 days, okay? And then you need to talk to your bank and say, hey, once I get an ACH, how long until I can send a wire? And they may say, we're going to hold that for 1 day. And if you talk to the branch manager, they may say, we're not going to hold it at all, depending upon your account and those things. And then a wire transfer, how that works is if you send it before 2 p.m., then it arrives same day. If not, it is next day. But here's the thing about wires. Wires are not reversible. So meaning if you send a wire and you send it to the wrong place, you never get that money back. Like once you send a wire, game over, it's done. And the purpose of wires is for real estate transactions and immediate fundings that can never be reversed. Where if I go there and I write a check, and I write a check out, sign my check, I can put a stop pay on the check. I can bounce it because I don't have enough funds in my account. All those things can happen. And when the title company is transferring these properties, they can't have that happen. So that's why wires are really important. So this is one way that we can do this, is doing a cash advance. The other way that we can do this is there's a company that will allow you to actually use the money and then they will wire it. So rather than doing a cash advance, what they're going to allow you to do is you basically swipe your credit card, right? You actually just use your credit card. And when you use your credit card, you'll get a charge from it's called Plastiq. And what they're going to do then is they will then, you say, I want you to wire funds, and they will wire the funds directly to title. And this process is a little bit faster, but you need to talk to them because what they're basically doing is they're a vendor. You're basically swiping your credit card, saying, "I'm going to pay you $15,000 or $5,000 or whatever that amount is, and then I'm going to direct you to then go ahead and wire those funds." Now, I will tell you, they charge a fee to do this. They're going to charge you a fee, a percentage, in order to make this transaction happen. But what that's going to allow you to do is not cap out on this 50% limit. Now, if you had a line for $25,000, you could get the full $25,000, although you may have to do it in a couple of transactions, but you'll get $25,000, that full $25,000 from the title company. So I think that by the way, if you're enjoying all of this, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you've got a question you'd like to have me answer like this one, and thank you for the question, type it in the comments below and I'll create a video just like this for you and all my other amazing YouTube subscribers. Now, I think the other conversation when we start talking about credit cards, it makes some people a little queasy when we talk about credit cards. And I think the big reason for this is because of misuse of credit cards. So I think credit cards are often misused. I think they're used for things to help people live well above their means. They're used to help delay the reality of a financial situation. But using credit cards for an investment, I believe, is different, because if you're using that to help you do a deal and you're investing in a good investment, although the investment could go bad and you could be in trouble and have to pay that money back, if you're doing your due diligence and you're investing properly, the likelihood of that is pretty low if you're making the proper steps. And so I look at the credit cards and saying, if I'm using that for an investment, but if you're trying to use this strategy to take your family to Disneyland or something, don't do it. That's just going to get yourself in a world of hurt. And that is not what this is intended for. It's intended for you to put this money in so you can then do a property. And here's what happens. Let's just look through a deal here. Let's just say we have a deal where let's say the lender, let's say you're able to resell the property for $150,000. That's the resell. And let's say the lender, your purchase, you're all in at $80K. Let's say there's 80 for the purchase and 20K to actually get the rehab done on the property, right? So that's basically what we're looking at. But you need to come up with $100,000, and let's say the lender's only going to do $90,000. That's it, for whatever reason. And so there's a $10,000 deficit. I've got to come up with $10,000. However, look at this. There's a $50,000 profit margin on this. So you got to pay agent fees and everything else. So maybe call it a $30,000 profit margin. So if you got $10,000 and you did a cash advance, even if it was like at a 30% interest rate on that $10,000, which would end up being $3,000 if you had it out for the entire year. But if you only had it out half the year, it'd be like $1,500. So basically, you're paying an extra $1,500 in order for you to make $30,000, as long as you've done your due diligence and the deal is right. Is there risk? Yes. There's a risk this doesn't work out for some reason, and you're going to left being responsible for this entire $15,000. But the risk of that is fairly low if you're doing that appropriately. And one of the ways you can manage that risk is actually by working with a hard money lender, because a hard money lender is kind of your last line of defense. They don't want to get you into a deal they don't believe is going to be profitable for you, because in the end, they're going to be in trouble if you find yourself in trouble as well. So I hope that this has been really helpful for you. Now, if you want to see one of these flipping legends, if you're a flipping legend like me and want to get one of these killer t-shirts, join me every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube. I do a live cast where you can ask me live questions. So, and to do that, if you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, you'll be notified when I do those live casts. Also, if you'd like to get a copy of my property value analysis, basically what this does is helps you know if it's a good deal or not a good deal. Just text me your email address to 435-294-0433, and you can get a free copy of that. I also have a video on the 17 ways to get 100% financing without using your own money. So you can check that out. 17 ways to get 100% financing. I'll click that video on there. I also have a blog post you're going to want to read up on, which is how to do your first fix and flip without using your own money. If you want to check that one out, I'll link it in the notes below. Otherwise, please subscribe and make it a very profitable day. Bye for now.